Monogamy actually has a 5% success rate when we're measuring success based in staying together, not cheating, and being happy. Those are the reality. Those are the stats. And I want to make sure we start by remembering just a simple but very important fact. The ideas about relationships that we were raised with, right? Fairy tales, Disney, princes and princesses, all of those stories end at the beginning of the relationship, right? All the good stuff really starts after. So, I am a non-monogamy nerd. And I help curious, busy people open up without blowing up. But I was actually a serial monogamist for the first 30 years of my life. In 2016, I tried opening up what became my last monogamous relationship, and it completely blew up in our face. That began what has now become an over 8-year immersive journey exploring all things non-monogamous, sex-positive, and lifestyle-oriented, from play parties to dungeons to polycules to primary open relationships. I read everything I could get my hands on. I went to all the classes, all the workshops. I even went back to school to pursue my master's in clinical psychology, but I didn't finish the program. I chose not to because there was just no material available to study alternative relationship dynamics. I realized I'd have to do all this immersive study and everything on my own anyway, so I saved $100 grand. And I dove in. It was an insecurity in the relationship. When you understand where the jealousy is coming from, it allows you to determine where those areas are for growth, but then also if it's something for you to look at on your own, or if it's then something you also need to bring to your partner to look at and work on together. So it's actually, as uncomfortable as it is, because it is uncomfortable, it is actually something to lean into. It's an opportunity for intimacy and growth, both for yourself and in your relationship. And the third one I want to talk about is the assumption that it's all about sex, right? I mean, look, we're here in a sex showcase, so like, I ain't mad at it, but it's not all necessarily about that. Open and expansive relationships allow us to safely explore and satisfy our needs with the full support of our partner. I didn't have any tools, I didn't have any resources, I didn't have any support or community. And my mission now is to change that for all of you. Because it doesn't have to be like that. The statistics don't have to be like that. There are so many more options than just being together in this one-size-fits-all illusion or not. There's a whole beautiful gray area that we get to explore. So let's talk about that today. To start, let's define what non-monogamy is, right? So non-monogamy encompasses a lot of different relationship dynamics, but they all have one thing in common. You are having multiple sexual and or romantic partnerships simultaneously with the full informed consent of everyone involved. So that's how we're going to define non-monogamy. When I work with couples that are curious to open up, the first thing I want them to understand is that if they're in a couple, they're actually already in a threesome. There's you, there's your partner, and there's your relationship. Understanding reciprocity in this expansive model helps get you out of personalizing everything as an attack, because that's a false binary of you versus me, right? We're here together in this relationship. And it creates the relationship as a safe container that supports their respective mutual needs. You'll hear me use words like non-monogamy, alternative relationship dynamics. I actually don't even like those words because it infers that monogamy is still the status quo norm, when really this is a conversation about all relationship dynamics, right? So, let's talk about expansive relationship dynamics. You'll hear different terms like open relationships. What that refers to is a primary couple that is open to having sexual experiences outside of that relationship. Polyamory is a multi-partner dynamic, which can be hierarchical or not. Swinging or swapping is when couples will play with each other. And then you have relationship anarchy, which is applying the principles of anarchy to relationships. So what that means, what that looks like is people who are relationship anarchists don't believe that, relationships should have higher or lower hierarchical value, right? So whether it's romantic, whether it's platonic, all of their relationships are treated the same. It's very similar to something you'll hear too called solo polyamory, and that's when you're basically your own primary partner. when you experience joy or pleasure from your partner experiencing joy or pleasure with someone else. So there's a few misconceptions. I'm going to address three of the kind of the big ones. One of my favorites is a term, who here has heard traditional relationships? Right? Yeah. So traditional relationships are actually non-monogamous because it's a much larger part of our human history. Non-monogamy dates all the way back to BCE Mesopotamia. Monogamy actually only dates back about 5,000 to 10,000 years to the beginnings of agricultural society, and it's tied more with land ownership and familial lineage. So monogamy is actually the new kid on the block, and religion is seen as the thing that kind of really lit the fire under there, and it turned monogamy into this kind of one-size-fits-all status quo that we see today. But it's important to have that context. Innately, we are originally a communal society, which means we practice non-monogamy. Another myth you'll hear is that non-monogamous people or polyamorous people don't experience jealousy or insecurity. Incorrect. The difference is jealousy in expansive relationship dynamics isn't something you avoid. It's actually a tool for your personal growth you need. I founded Passport to Pleasure in January this year to formalize work that I've been doing over the last 8 years because I wish there had been a me when I started. My website contains resources like the course I mentioned, ENM 101, Exploring Healthy Non-Monogamy, which provides you all the tools you need to figure out your IRS, your ideal relationship structure, and build the first draft of your relationship agreement to support it. You can also work with me directly through the 4 phases of my relationship model, my expansive relationship model, that results in you creating and maintaining your drama-free relationship that lasts. I'm not one of those relationship coaches that's like, cool, you found your partner, good luck. No, I want you to maintain what you've built together. My system is designed for you to build and maintain the ideal relationship structure of your wet dreams. So, basically I want you to be able to open up without blowing up. It wasn't fun. I don't want that for anyone else. So just keep exploring, stay curious, and remember, all those fucking fairy tales and Disney movies ended at the beginning of the relationship. All the juicy stuff comes after. So I'm here and available to answer any questions that you might have. I am an absolute nerd when it comes to relationship dynamics and non-monogamy. So don't be afraid to come up and reach out and ask. You can find me at passport2pleasure.com. Thank you.